Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All Now with Alex. I'm your host, of course, Alex. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Ethan Poetic. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for allowing me to be a guest on your show.
No problem at all. Glad to have you here. So, can you give the people a quick little background about yourself, and then we'll jump into the questions?
I'm native Coatesville, residing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I graduated with 2 college degrees, recognized at the Pennsylvania State Capitol Complex, and most recently, I was recognized by Harrisburg Area Community College as a distinguished alumni, and my award came in last night, Friday.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. So we're gonna jump straight into it. So, of course, going off of the bio and everything, we got some questions populated for you. So, let's start off with this. Can you share the details of the near fatal accident you experienced in 2011 and the significant injuries you sustained?
Yes, I was involved 13 years ago in a near fatal car accident where I had a 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life.
Wow.
That 99% chance is higher than a divorce rate, a failed business, and so much more.
Hmm.
And it took a lot of soul searching for me to look at the newspaper article, that television that took the footage, and to look at my Facebook wall of all the people saying they're praying for me. It was real. This was not a dream. This was not a situation you could just wake up and things come back to normal. It was just a significant situation that impacted my life in so many ways where I was destined to go to college, get my driver's license, and a few other things, but that stuff got put on hold because that's near fatal car accident, was the injuries of a torn aorta, which causes internal bleeding, a concussion, a red left black eye, then losing over 60 pounds. Then I ended up on a feeding tube where I couldn't eat or drink by mouth.
Mm.
I've seen people on dialysis where they can only drink only 24 ounces of fluid a day.
Wow.
But once they got on to my story, like, wow, I'm glad I got the 24.
Right.
And, those injuries impacted me so much where I was in rehab for at least a month. We learned how to speak words again, syllables, pronouns, the alphabet, start counting the numbers. We learned how to walk again. I remember the one time the doctor or physical therapist just was pushing me to keep trying with walking because they didn't want me to settle on being in a wheelchair.
Hmm. Yeah. That's uh that's pretty intense, man. A torn aorta. That's like the most important, or that's the most important part of the heart. Um, it's just that's just to think about that is wild, especially for just to think about it is wild. So I can only imagine for you actually going through it. That's yeah. It's good to see that everything worked out in your favor. So that was 13 years ago. So you must have been maybe what, a teenager at the time.
I was actually in my early 20s at the time.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's rough, man. That's rough. Well, so how did that experience shape your perspective going forward with life?
A lot of things, like when I got told that it happened, when I woke up, I couldn't believe it because here I am in the ICU unit with IVs in both arms, both veins. I could barely get up, and the look at the situation where I'm at, like looking in the room, like, wow, what am I doing in here?
Mhm.
And then to look around and realize, something doesn't feel right. But it turns out I was on a Christmas list full of medicines to where my body was desensitized.
Mhm.
And it was just a situation where my touch was different. My taste was much off. My hearing was something different. Then I became like sensitive to light. It changed my perspective. Like you could be here 1 second and gone the next.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
like last year when I got interviewed by this newspaper place called the Southeast Times, something like really like put on a green light for me while I was going through like the waves of emotion for every time my anniversary would show up. The key word in that article was survivor's remorse. And it just hit me like, whoa, that's what I was carrying the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was still feeling sorry about being a survivor of a near fatal car accident due to a couple people passing away. And when I looked at the survivor's remorse thing as a whole, I realized that people who serve in the military, who come back to civilian life, have to go to like a VA hospital for treatment for survivor's remorse because one of their buddies is no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
A parent who has to bury their child or adult child, that's survivor's remorse. There's also, a person losing a friend in the neighborhood, that's survivor's remorse. And there's also people who've been married for long periods of time to their significant spouse and lose somebody. Not only is that person a widow, but that's also a person going through survivor's remorse. And when I look at that situation, I realize I wasn't the only person who goes through survivor's remorse.
Right. Yeah, that's and that's I can only imagine that's pretty rough to to have to deal with for anybody, especially what I'm saying, somebody who's already been through enough as much as you've already been through, you know what I mean? So I can only imagine that. So um switching subjects for a quick second. So can you discuss like what was your decision to attend Millersville University and the factors that drew you to that communications program?
Well, a lot of things. I remember like it was yesterday. I was meeting with my academic advisor at HAC. She looked at my degree audit and she had smiles on her face, ear to ear. And she says, I have more than enough credits to not only apply for graduation, but also transfer. And I was left with the decision to either stay for another semester and graduate later, or apply for this graduation now and look to transfer to a university. I chose Millersville University because it was affordable. All I had to do was purchase a parking permit pass. So luckily, I still qualify for FIA and Pell Grants.
Mm-hmm.
I already knew some people already there that graduated from there, some of the current students, and I would always attend some of the events. And they had my major, speech communication, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made when I applied over there as a transfer grad. And I got offered a commitment by them, paid the fee. Then I got introduced to Dr. Teresa Russell Loretz, who was formerly the head of the Department of Communication and Theater. She chose my classes for me as a token of appreciation. And the campus life was much different from HAC to Millersville. Like, for example, at HAC, everyone's, on the go, whether it's on the bus, getting picked up, or driving independently. At Millersville University, it's a combination of just people. Some people leave, some people stay on campus. And for me, I was a person that left the campus. And one of my first classes was with my friend. And luckily for her, she helped me pass my business class. It was like an elective. And as I got acclimated to the campus, it felt like a new home for me. The track was there, the football team was there. And it was just a journey of understanding that all I got to do is cross another finish line and graduate from here with a college degree and be ready to, make moves.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So you were so as the first in your family to graduate with post secondary degrees, what does that achievement mean to you?
Uh, well, a lot of things. Like when I graduated twice, my cousin, who's my second cousin, called me And she said, of all the men on my mom's side of the family in my generation, only one with not one but two college degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And she explained to me that other people want to further their education, but some people didn't drop. Some people didn't cross the finish line and never went back. And I realized that all because you pursue higher education later doesn't mean it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Because the door is always open. The opportunity is there. It's what you do with it. It was a significant situation of just realizing I came from a single parent household of five. I went to IEP classes, some regular classes, and on that IEP plan, there was no goal of me going to college, no goal of furthering my education, just a goal of working at a dead end job that has a high turnover rate,
Mm-hmm.
just to give somebody a bone, but not a meal.
Right.
But I also realized my life was much different. But ultimately, I'm proud that I did it because it made a significant change in my life where my network is much bigger. My certain family members are proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
And, to have two college degrees is very significant for, kids that look up to me like, oh, Ethan came from a single parent household. I can further my education. And also I can realize, it's bigger than me, since I went from victim to victor, where I can share some knowledge and wisdom with certain student athletes and parents and families. Like, this is the game plan for you. I know
Right.
certain organizations that can help you. Now you can become great like me, except do it much sooner than later.
Right. Yeah. No, that's understandable. That's understandable. Um. So, what was Can you share like the significance of being featured in like local media outlets, kind of like LNP, Lancaster newspaper, and WGAL?
Well, here's what happened. It was in the midst of COVID when I graduated from Mills University, December 2020. My advisor, who was also my academic advisor, was also my intern advisor. He approved all the check marks for me passing my final math class and completing the internship. I ended up doing my own celebration independently because there was no telling if I'll ever have a commencement ceremony to get honored and recognized there like many other people did. I knew one of the city council members at Lancaster City Hall and asked her, could I see if I could qualify for a proclamation declaration? And when we had the meeting as part of the city council meeting on the agenda board, all the council members, including the mayor, all said yay, which means yes. While all that was going on, what I didn't know was there was this guy named John Walk, who's a news reporter of Lancaster newspaper, listening in the whole time.
Hmm.
And then sometime later, I was in Chester, PA, at a high school basketball game. Chester won the District 1 title for their area. And then next thing I know, I get a long text from John Walk saying he wants to do a follow-up story on me. I said yes. We chose a date, and that was one of the most intense interviews I ever did. And when I made the newspaper, front page of the newspaper, April 1st, 2021, when I showed up to work, I thought I was going to need a police escort. And then the same day as my commencement ceremony, prior to that, I got interviewed by WGL. The person was Barbara Barb, and it was very significant. It was a more relaxed interview. Took plenty of pictures. And the day or two later, she ended up coming to my job to do some B-roll footage of me working.
Mm-hmm.
It made significance because it get to show all the people from my coaches who invested in me with sports. Certain people who played the role of a father figure, that they had that proud moment in their own privacy of their home, or they could share the footage with other kids and student athletes. Like, this is the type of relationship I want with you, an involved relationship. where it's bigger than just the X's and O's, bigger than just, us hanging out. Let's just do the best we can do to help you become a productive member of society right now. That way, when you become an adult, you already know what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I would agree. Um, what about when you received the department chair special recognition award from Dr. Teresa Russell Lawrence? Like, what impact did that have on you?
It was great. I didn't see it coming. Long story short, it was my senior year of college at Mills University. We're in COVID. I got appointed a mentor. His name is Bob Paul. In the first semester with them, everything was good. The following semester was good. Then I got invited to this video chat. And I'm in the waiting room, like, just waiting to get in. And then next year, no, I get put on to video chat. And Dr. Teresa Russell Lawrence, she had the biggest smile on her face. She was, emphasizing that she didn't even know that I went through that car accident. She didn't know that I went through a near-death experience. The HR department didn't even see it. She was just so surprised, like, here a man who had a near-death experience then succumbed to being addicted to drugs and alcohol to cope with life. Yeah, here he is at Mills University, furthering his education, and crossed the finish line. And that's when she announced that she was so proud that she's going to make an award for me, the Overcoming Adversity Award. And included a letter. Once I got it, I took some pictures, made a video, sent that to her, put it on social media, and it made her even prouder.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Things like that always, give you that warm feeling inside, make you feel good or whatever. So what inspired you to start your own business? And
Long,
and
the long story short of it was a combination of things. Like, for example, I had passed my spring semester of college 2020 in the midst of COVID, and there was this Greek family that encouraged me to write my autobiography to get my story out there. And the key to a man's heart is to his stomach. They kept feeding me lobster tail, champagne, scallops, you name it. They didn't want to take no for an answer. Eventually, I gave in, said yes, got started with writing, and then next thing I know, a year later, I was always attending these network events, and there's one guy named Kyle Sleemaker said, "It's time for you to start your own LLC business." I said, "You sure?" He said, "Yes, man. I even paid for your headshot photo." So we got started with the headshot photos, and this married couple helped me start my business to the state capital of Harrisburg. And it was just like, wow. And in the same year, that same summer of 2021, I changed my last name to Poetic. And then from there, it was just the start of a new chapter of life.
mm-hmm.
And what influenced me to start my own business even more was just, I thought, when I graduated from Mills University, I thought, hey, I'm going to get this job offer to be on television, radio, have my own show. Then I got featured on WGAL. The news reporter guy or weather guy said, I'm going to tell my boss about you. We're going to make sure you get interviewed. And I'm one of the most influential and inspiring people in the world. And it was crickets. Not one offer. Only offer there was just an interview just to be a cameraman or a person behind the scenes making less than $8 an hour.
Ooh, man.
And the guy, yeah. Yeah, and the guy never contacted me back after the interview. So I realized, starting the business, while working part-time. What's the way to generate money? And then when the book came out, it just added more value and more impact around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I started my business, because eventually I think more with an owner's mindset instead of an employee's mindset.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, as a mental health advocate, what message or insights do you aim to share through your work?
I tell people all the time that, when it comes to trauma, drama, wounds, scars, or underlying pain, it needs to be addressed, not suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't address it, it turns into an addiction to cope with it. It could be buying new clothes all the time and going broke, trying to impress people for validation that don't really care about you. It could
Mm-hmm.
be the alcoholism, looking at things on television that you're not supposed to look at in the adult entertainment. Then there's also eating too much, wanting to be in the nicest car, just to impress somebody. There's a whole list of things that people can be addicted to. And I try to tell them, when you get to the root issue of certain things, some of these things go back to our childhood,
Mm-hmm.
where someone didn't tell us something or something we suppress. And it becomes worse than what it was before. Like, for example, last month I was at a first gen panel discussion, and I was on there, and I was giving away gems like, number one, you gotta understand in life, don't self sabotage the time you have on earth. You have a purpose just like anybody else does. The same 24 hours is what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do further education, you separate yourself from the crowd, the people that used to be with, because not everyone that comes with you goes with you. Then I also shared the gem of, once you get your college ID at university, any book that a college professor wants you to get in that syllabus, look up that book inside the library database and see that you get that book as a loaner at no cost for the whole semester. You save thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what happens is this, well, being a mental health advocate, I try to emphasize with people that when you have that pre-suppressed memory that doesn't have closure, or didn't have something that you wanted to go the way you wanted, or just a situation where someone did you wrong, that's when you got to contact your village, contact your support system. Uh, set up an appointment with a therapist, a counselor, a mentor, a life coach. The help
Mm-hmm.
is out there. It's just some people like to either cry out for help doing crimes, or some people like to have people draw people to them by saying something or doing something that's like on social media, to where people contact them like, what's going on? Because not everyone's going to want to take time to like look at someone like that, because that person could be crying wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, your mental health is your wealth, and your wealth is your mental health. And for me, I did the work. I went from a Christmas list full of medicine to being detoxed off of it.
Yeah.
I don't have an addiction to no alcohol, no drugs, none of that stuff. I did the work. I did the work with the survivor's remorse.
Mm-hmm.
I did the work with self-pity. It's just a matter of, do you see yourself becoming a better version of yourself? Because oftentimes when a person likes to have this victim mindset, it becomes too convenient. Because some people are afraid of stepping outside their comfort zone.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. A lot of people are that way. A lot of people are that way. So, do you have maybe like a memorable or impactful speaking engagement that you like, that you just remember, that's just so memorable that it always sticks with you?
Yeah, for example, in the midst of COVID, there was this married couple. One's a teacher in Coastal Area School District. They both said at the football booster club that, I'm going to speak at a school in Coastal Area School District. Then I contacted this guy, Mateo, 2023, in the winter, because he does inspirational stories about people. and he works for 6 ABC Action News. Based, it's a tri-state area of coverage where New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania. Once I contacted him, an hour and a half later, he says he wanted to do the show. He said, all I gotta do is choose a school building. I got in contact with the teacher. We got in contact with the principal. Principal already knew my family. We got in contact with the newly elected superintendent, who gave the green light. We set up the date, and I went to a school called Kings Highway Elementary School, speaking to the third graders of 3 classes in one room. And I was dressed up in my suit, brought all my accolades, brought my books, and it was showtime. Where I got a chance to speak how I wanted to speak, an opportunity to tell my story, tell my own narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were engaged. I had some humor in between. Said some thought-provoking things. And it was one of the most memorable things ever, because here I am, a native of Coatesville, speaking at the school in Coastal Area School District with television coverage. It doesn't get no better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's bigger than me, because this is something for the kids to see that's on television, social media. It's a win for the city. It's a win for the community in the school district and surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm.
Where I emphasize that I had to overcome a near-death experience to create my success story. All you got to do is change your foundation and your mindset and your crowd. And that goes for also adults as well, who are parents and guardians, because more is taught by watching than spoken.
I agree.
And that's always gonna stick with me. And when you get put on television, you're seen in a different light. And it was an outpour of people contacting me on my cell phone, email, social media. People trusting me with their PO boxes and mailing addresses. They wanted to buy the book off of me, hardcover, softcover. I autographed it, put my business card inside of it, and mailed it off. And the book usually got delivered to them within 2 to 3 days. And it was just a remarkable impact that will live on forever. That will always be part of my legacy, and many more to come.
Right. Right. Yeah, I would agree. So basically, you use your past experiences and everything to help motivate and let people know, like, hey, if I was able to get through this, what I mean, you guys can get through what you're getting through. All you got to do is make these small changes, and you don't have to necessarily go through the same situation that you went through, basically.
Yes, because some of the things I went through were not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell this story all the time, and it happens in real life. Like my biological father, he was already with another woman and already had a kid when he met my mom, but my mom and him were never serious. And then he gets 2 women pregnant, my mom and that woman.
Mm.
And that's a lot to take in, because my name is remembered for something for that situation, and I hadn't even making a name for myself yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even born, and people were already talking about the situation. And then to be denied that, then for someone to deny me as their child in front of my grandma and my aunt, and then to hear about it as a kid, where I understand it. Then once I got older, I understood, like, whoa, this guy was trying to cover his tracks of being a player. And the biggest thing I realized is that I remind him of the choices he made that he didn't get right.
Right.
And I also remind my mom of some of the choices that she made that she didn't make right.
Mm-hmm.
And I share all to say is that I'm not the only person who went through that situation before.
Right.
Because regardless of your background, you can make an impact and change the narrative. You may
That's
not
true.
be rewriting history, but you can always make a better tomorrow by making a better present.
Yep. And if you do that, it's gonna change history anyway, because now you change the present and you change tomorrow. And if you change the next day, then nobody's gonna remember about day 47 before all of that. They just see, most places is a what have you done for me lately thing. So they're only gonna remember the lately stuff as you progress and keep improving, so on and so forth. Um so with everything that you have going on, like how do you balance your various roles as a speaker, advocate, tutor, entrepreneur while still maintaining a sense of purpose and well-being?
There's a lot of things. For one, just plan things by the hour.
Okay.
Not Don't be a yes person for certain things. Have a structure. Like for example, if somebody wants to speak at their speaking engagement. I'll If they're interested, they'll either email me, contact me either through social media or email or text, and I send them the link to my link to fill in the information.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say right from the beginning on the website, I don't accept pro bono or heavily discounted opportunities because I have value that's immersed,
Mm-hmm.
and my time is valuable, and I have a lot of accolades behind me. I have people that are backing me up behind the scenes that are silent partners.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell people all the time, like, for example, I'm not looking to like do something for free because if I do it for free, it's not as valuable. But ultimately, I don't have a secretary, but what I do have is two calendars.
That's right.
And the balance is just having a calendar for personal, professional, and there's a time to step away from all that and just focus on myself on an individual level. Like for example, if I'm at a cookout, I'm not here to inspire anyone. I'm not here to sell my books. I'm just here to fellowship with people. That's it. That's just allow me to be like a regular person for once. Allow me to just be myself. Have my
Mm-hmm.
barbershop talk moments.
Right.
Allow me to just speak out loud, unapologetically, and allow myself to have experience in life. Because what happens is when a person is focused too much on their business, they lose touch with the people in the community. And when you lose touch with that, the people who normally would support your business will tell you're more about corporate, not
Mm-hmm.
community.
Right.
And when you're not for the people's communities, they'll find someone who else is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
Yeah.
ultimately, I continue to learn by reading more books, keeping in contact and meet with my mentor, staying involved with like after school sports programs, whether it's just showing up at the event or I'm just more the person in the crowd behind the scenes, whether I'm in the stands or the bleachers. Then there's also attending certain after school events that are much different, where the kids will tell me, hey, I'm speaking at this event, I'm singing here, I'm dancing here, and the next thing the parents are like, oh, here's a reminder text, here's this reminder email, or you name it. And it becomes a proud moment for them that somebody cared to take
Mm-hmm.
time out of their life to be there for them.
Right.
But moving forward, I'm blessed with this opportunity to just continue to grow and evolve because this is my third year in the business. And my website is called ethanspeaks.com.
Okay.
I'm the only person in my family that is in this position. And moving forward, I don't take this for granted because anything can get taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So I just continue to take this one day at a time. For
Yeah.
all serious inquiries with my books, speaking engagements, being on a panel discussion, a conference, life coaching, you name it.
Right. Yep. Nah, I definitely understand. So, how do you hope that well, actually, let's do this. So, what advice would you give any aspiring speakers, advocates, or entrepreneurs looking to make a positive impact through their work?
You gotta have your why. You gotta have your purpose behind it. Cause you're not the only person out here doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be able to separate yourself from the crowd. And eventually, like Steve Harvey said, eventually you're gonna have to jump.
Yep.
You're gonna have to go all in. And it's more than just, for me, it's more than just doing engagements. It's more about attending networking events, being involved in the community hands-on, and understanding I have different roles, whether it's for me to lead, be supportive, or be in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And realize this is bigger than the money. It's about making an impact in people's lives. Who can relate to your calling? Who can relate to what you want to do? Are you
Right.
willing to collaborate with another organization? That way it can be the best of both worlds, or the best of a collaborative effort for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
Um,
more than enough resources for everyone to get a hold of. There's more than enough voices for people to lead. And ultimately, you have to understand, what is it that you want to do that's relevant, and are
mm-hmm.
you willing to reinvent yourself?
Yep. Um, yeah, that's understandable. So how do you hope that your work will contribute to the broader conversation and understanding of resilience, mental health, and overcoming adversity?
Like, for example, my book is used for professional development and also in juvenile facilities with certain, youth, and teachers or people who are in leadership positions tell the kids like, "Hey, Ethan went through the same thing like you, but he didn't pull a gun out on nobody.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go out here selling drugs. He didn't go out here having kids all over the place. He was willing to ask for help from the right people that were looking out for his best interests." When it comes to leaders, they see themselves get they get rededicated. Like, this guy inspires me to do this even more.
Mm-hmm.
Then when it comes to coaches, they're like, wow, this guy has an evolved relationship with his coaches from middle school and high school, even though he's grown, and still keeps in contact with them and still be hands-on involved. And their wives allow them this. I'll rephrase that. The wives get to see the fruits of the labor of their husband investing in kids. That becomes a proud moment for them, because she now understands. Oh, that's why you were coming back home late.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why we had to be involved with the booster club more. That's why we had to, arrange the carpooling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know what somebody's going through.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Um, so before we get out of here, is there anything else that you would like to touch on, or that you would like to tell the audience, whether it's about your book, whether it's about your story, your work, or your envision?
Yeah, my book is called The Inspirational Story of Ethan A. Poetic, Chronicles of Adversity, Education, Sports, Relationships, and Resiliency. You may buy it or support me by purchasing directly through me. You would just have to trust me with your mailing addresses or PO boxes. You can hit me through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle. I'll take a screenshot of the tracking number and make sure we both know where the book is going at all times. I also have an ebook and audio version available on all major platforms: Amazon, Kobo, Barnes& and Noble, Google Play, Apple Play, Kobo. Then there's also Libro. All you
Mm-hmm.
gotta do is type in my name, audiobook. It's gonna be one of the most inspiring stories you're gonna listen to, whether you're on a car ride, before your workout, something to play for your kids. If you feel like the kids are like, "Mommy, Dad, what are we gonna do?" Or something you can download for the ebook for your kids to read during the summertime, because you
Mm-hmm.
gotta keep a mind active and educated. And for all serious inquiries for speaking engagements or any other type of engagements, just contact me on my website, ethanspeaks.com. Once you fill out the form, um, just please understand I value my services, my products, and I'm not the person that's going to make a guarantee I'm going to make an impact. I'm gonna let my actions speak on how the impact's gonna be made.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on my social media, my web. Let's see, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. My username is Ethan Poetic 23. On Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and my YouTube channel, I'm Ethan Poetic, ETHAN POETIC. Moving forward, the help is out there for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I did the work, and look at me.
That's right.
But look at the progress that I can show you in the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. So, I appreciate you taking the time out to come on the show and talk about your story, talk about your book, talk about everything that you have going on, or whatever. So, everybody that's out there watching, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. You guys have just watched another episode of All in All with Alex, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.